Bryce Young has been benched. And now there's so much uncertainty with what's going to happen in the future with him. And while it looks all doom and gloom, and it looks like he's going to go down as one of the biggest draft busts in NFL history, maybe this benching is what saves his career. Okay, so with this video, I'm not going to do any editing. As you saw, there was no opening. This is just going to be pure raw footage, and I wanted to do it this way because I have a good number of thoughts on Bryce Young and this whole situation, and I just feel like trying to put it into a place where I can edit it and get some rough points out of it, I think that's just doing it a disservice. So I just want to get my full thoughts out there, and if there's a mess up or two, I want it to be in there. So that's what's going to happen here, and to all this, I'm just going to say, none of this is Bryce Young's fault. I'm going to say this right off the bat. This is not his fault. If you're going to be a rookie quarterback in the NFL that's drafted first overall, you need to make sure the team puts in place a system that can allow you to succeed. And what does Carolina do to get the number 1 overall pick? They trade their top receiver, DJ Moore. Already, Bryce Young is at a disadvantage. Also, the offensive line, not too good. Ike Ekwonu took a step back last year. Not to mention the running game. They signed Miles Sanders, but Chuba Hubbard has been their best running back. That is not a recipe for success for any quarterback, let alone a rookie. And that's why Bryce Young did not do particularly well, had one of the worst rookie seasons you will see from a number 1 overall pick. I'm not even going to put them down below because I really don't want to. And this year has just been even worse. He hasn't even thrown a touchdown pass. He has had a rushing touchdown, the Panthers' only touchdown through 2 games so far. And in terms of receivers, last year was Adam Thielen who was their top receiver. And it's still Adam Thielen. He's in his mid-30s. Jonathan Mingo, he's been a second-round bust so far. They traded for Deontay Johnson, but he's averaging 6 yards a catch. And Xavier Legette, who they took 32nd overall in this year's draft, he's not ready. He's got a ways to go. So no wonder Bryce Young has been struggling. The team around him just isn't that good. I will say the offensive line looks better, but that's not enough. He needs help around him. Any quarterback is going to need help around him. And if you think Andy Dalton's going to come in and save this season, I'd be shocked if that happened. I really am going to be shocked if Andy Dalton can come in and play amazing. And now that I say it, that might actually happen. But I'm not going to get into that. But with Bryce Young now being benched, I'm sure everyone's thought is going to be he's one of the biggest busts in NFL history. He's done. He's not going to get another chance in the NFL. There's no way that he may never even play in the NFL again. But I don't know if it's really all doom and gloom. Like I said, it's not Bryce Young's fault. You know, when you have a team like this, and really when you have a owner like David Tepper, who as we have seen, has a very, very short fuse when it comes to a lot of things, not just in the front office. And not to mention when you're rotating head coaches like they have been. He's already been through 3 head coaches. 3 head coaches! He hasn't even completed his 2nd year yet. How is that possible? It shouldn't be. And yet, it is. It's just not good. It really isn't. And with that kind of inconsistency in the coaching staff and that kind of, I'm going to say, toxic that we see with the owner, it's going to be a struggle. And again, it's not on Bryce Young as to what's going on. If CJ Stroud was here, I'm willing to bet he'd be just as bad. Because again, Bryce Young did not have anything last year. Meanwhile, CJ Stroud, the Texans did everything right. They had a running game. They had the offensive line to protect him. They had weapons at wide receiver. So the Texans did everything right. The Panthers did everything wrong. Now, why is it that this could end up being what Bryce Young needs to make sure that he has a successful career in the NFL. Well, if the Panthers do decide to give up on him, we're assuming that they're going to have at least a top 3 pick, more than likely going to be picking first overall if they keep playing like the way that they are. They're going to go quarterback again and make Bryce Young available in a trade, more than likely. And I could just see a few teams being interested in this quarterback that was taken number 1 overall, that showed great potential at Alabama and knows that he got a raw end of the deal in a video of how not to develop a quarterback in the NFL. This is what you teach people not to do. Everything that Carolina did, this is what you teach them not to do. So who could be interested in Bryce Young? Well, one team, the Rams. And I'm sure a lot of people have been thinking about that too, because Sean McVay, look what happened with Jared Goff. Jared Goff had a rookie season that was, I would say, worse than Bryce Young's. And then Sean McVay comes in 1 year later, and Jared Goff looks amazing. He looked really good in his second year. And a lot of it had to do with Sean McVay. And then he gets Matthew Stafford, and Matthew Stafford gets a Super Bowl win after not winning a playoff game in Detroit. So Sean McVay clearly knows what he's doing. And who better to learn from than Matthew Stafford? Really? Because what did Matthew Stafford come into when he came into the league? He came into a Detroit team that had just gone winless. They went 2-14 his first year. They went 6-10 his second year. Now, he did miss a lot of time due to injury. I know that. And then his third year, he got them back to the playoffs. So in 3 years, he got the Lions back to the playoffs after going 0-16. So if anybody can teach him how to succeed and really how to be a quarterback in the NFL, it's going to be Matthew Stafford. There's also some other teams that could possibly be interested in Bryce Young. I could definitely see maybe the Titans, if they feel like Will Levis is not the answer. Maybe they could do something and get him if they feel like they're not going to be able to get a top quarterback in the draft. If they're not comfortable with the top quarterbacks in this year's draft. I know some people have said the Giants. I don't see it. No, the Giants, I mean, they're probably going to be picking in the top 3. I just don't see it. I think they're going to take one of the top quarterbacks in this draft. But the Titans, I mean, they could sneak some wins and maybe get themselves out of picking one of the top 2 QBs in the draft. So that's why I could definitely see the Titans doing this. Another team that I could possibly see taking a chance on Bryce Young, maybe the Raiders, maybe the Saints. You know, with the Saints, I mean, Derek Carr, he's not going to play there forever. He's getting up there in age. And with the Saints being stuck in this, not terrible, but not great, it would make sense to bring in a young guy. And with the Raiders, I mean, Gardner Minshew's not going to be the answer. Aiden O'Connell's not going to be the answer. And they could be in the same position as the Saints. So there could be options for teams to want to get Bryce Young. And if Bryce Young's going to succeed in this league, it's not going to be with Carolina. I just don't see it. Carolina is just a mess right now. They have to figure a lot of things out. And it's just not healthy for a young quarterback like Bryce Young. It's just not going to work there unless they make a dramatic turnaround, which I just don't see. And I don't think anybody else sees it. So Bryce Young's going to succeed in this league, which the book is not set. The book is not finished on Bryce Young's career yet. Now, do I think any of this is going to happen? Probably not. I mean, it's going to be tough. You know, his confidence has just gone down the drain with how bad the Panthers have been in developing him. And it's just not good for Bryce Young. It really hasn't been. And I do feel sorry for the guy. I really do, because this is a guy that, by all accounts, should be a success in the NFL based on how he played at Alabama and how we saw him perform. But he went to the wrong team, and we saw that right away. Again, they traded away their number 1 option. Their offensive line was a mess. They had no running game. So how was a rookie quarterback supposed to succeed with that kind of, I don't know how you would put it, just, you could say sabotage, that kind of sabotage. It just wasn't going to work. And Carolina, it just wasn't good. It just wasn't thought out, and they thought they were going to get Bryce Young and they were going to be getting back to where they want to be, and it just didn't happen. And again, the Panthers have no one to blame but themselves. This is exactly what you're not supposed to do when developing a rookie quarterback or developing a young quarterback in general. This is not how you build a team. It's not. This is just pure failure on Carolina's part. That's all this is. And unfortunately, Bryce Young is one of the biggest victims of this. And again, with this receiving core, Adam Thielen's a top receiver. He's in his mid-30s. He's not supposed to be the top guy. He's a good guy to have for a young quarterback, but he's not supposed to be the top option for a young quarterback. Again, Xavier Liggett, he's got a ways to go. Deontay Johnson, he's averaging 6 yards a catch. 6 yards a catch. That's not good. And they traded for him from Pittsburgh. I don't know what's going to happen with the Panthers. I don't know what's going to happen with Bryce Young. But one thing I will tell you, I do hope a team takes a chance on Bryce Young and tries to help him get his confidence back and has the pieces around him that can succeed. And again, the team that I think could most likely get the most out of him and most likely turn his career around could be Sean McVay and the Los Angeles Rams. If that does happen, if the Panthers just say, we're cutting our losses, we're getting rid of Bryce Young, we'll take anything for him, and the Panthers jump on that, I'm sorry, if the Rams jump on that, my bad, if the Rams jump on that, who knows, it could end up being what saves this young man's career in the NFL.